There is a road in southern Indiana that is widely believed to be haunted by a man who owned slaves and would sacrifice them under a bridge during a full moon. He was a devil worshipper. I know it sounds over the top, but bear with me. I live in Pennsylvania but occasionally visit southern Indiana to see my dad's side of the family. One time about a year ago I was hanging out with a friend and he told me all about Lickford Bridge. I called BS and we thought nothing of it, but later that night he asked if I wanted to go. I resisted at first, but eventually went. When we turned onto the road I immediately felt intense dread. All that was around us was thick woods. Odd things started happening when we got onto the bridge that he would sacrifice his slaves under. First I heard a terrifying scream that came from the creek below the bridge, then a little further down the bridge I heard what seemed to be a cat screeching. At this point I was already ready to go, but the road was dead end so we had to turn around. We turned around and started back over the bridge. No noises were heard as we went back over it, but about a minute after we got off the bridge a girl in the front seat yelled that she saw a red orb behind the car. So instinctively I turned around to see, and I also saw the orb. It was a very dim light that you had to focus to see, but it was there. There were no road signs or reflective things to create that illusion. The orb followed us for a couple more minutes and then it started to gain. When it got close the car completely stalled. The driver, my friend's mom, tried to turn back on the car, but it didn't turn until about her fifth try. We continued down the road, driving way over the speed limit to get out of there. Then, later down the road, the orb started to gain again, but I wasn't looking. A girl yelled, "Oh my God, it's in the car," and the car instantly turned off. This time it wouldn't turn back on for a minute or so. The orb didn't go away. In a video taken by my friend, you can see the orb and hear the most petrifying scream ever. If you want, I can look for the video, but I sound and look like the biggest pussy ever, but how can you blame me? Since there were rumored disappearances on that road, I thought for sure it was the end for me, but the mom did get the car started. For the rest of the ride nothing else happened, other than the orb keeping a steady distance from the car. The orb went away once we exited off the road. When we got home my friend and I decided to examine the car doors. There were multiple handprints in places we wouldn't have touched while getting out of the car. I struggled sleeping that night of course, but I finally fell asleep at around 3:30 in the morning. At 4 o'clock I was ripped out of my sleep. The TV had been turned way up and it just presented static and the very loud noise that accompanies static. Nobody else was awake so it couldn't have been a prank, everybody was freaked out. That could be coincidence, but if so, it's a very timely coincidence. Since then I have never had any other experiences that could be tied to that road. This content was provided by Angelo Tricarico.